So I want to give you a short message. No, that's not right. That's not right. The next one. That one. That's the right message. Okay. Okay, that's the message. Okay. Sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. Okay, so I want to talk about being salt, being light, and making whole. Now, again, like I said, I was told by Stephen a few times that I have 15 minutes to complete this part. Next slide. I want to start with a quick tip to anybody who's been told to prepare a sermon or a preaching in 15 minutes. This is how you get to do it. You don't do it yourself, you steal it. When you're below 20 minutes, don't look for Spurgeon or anybody else. Just steal it from Jesus, and just to modernize it, just add some memes here and there. So you're about to witness this method in action, and we're going to look at the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5. So if you do have a Bible, turn to Matthew 5, verses 13 to 16. I will read them out if you don't, okay? And we will begin. So, Matthew 5, verse 13 says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt has become tasteless, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men." So, the modern version of this is that I'm going to say to you, Jesus said, "You are the salt," and I will say to you that you are the salt bay of the earth, okay? For the young generation, I don't need to explain this person. For some of the older people here, let me tell you who Salt Bay is. He's a Turkish, I think he's Turk, chef who became famous for the way that he adds salt to his food, okay? And people loved him so much that they called him Salt Babe or Salt Bay in teenage speak. Okay, so this is Salt Bay, and I want you all to do the following. Just raise your hand. Raise your hands like this. Okay, now I want you to pick up a good amount of salt like this. All right, and now you're going to lift your elbows. Okay, some people have done this before, I can see that. And now you're going to sprinkle some salt. Okay, now we're going to do this again. Imagine you have a big steak or a big plate of food, whatever is your favorite. And now, again, it's unseasoned. So now we're going to grab some salt and we're going to sprinkle that salt on your food. Fantastic. Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth." So 2,000 years ago, people were seasoning their food because it was bland and terrible. And the value of adding salt to food was already known. What is Jesus talking about here? Okay, not talking about just... There we go. Stephen sits on that spot, so clearly it's already broken. All right, so the value of adding salt to the food. Sorry. So Jesus is talking about how we interact with people. Okay, you are the salt of the earth. Okay, he is saying you are meant to be like a seasoning. You're meant to be something that makes life tasty. People should encounter you and their life should taste different. They should be left with a flavor, an idea that they enjoyed their time with you. And hopefully, in a good way, yes, and hopefully they will be drawn and wanting more. My father-in-law, he is a big fan of soy sauce. Okay, you know soy sauce? Yeah. He will add it to everything, whether it's Asian cuisine or not. To my dismay, he will add it to everything. Now, soy sauce is very salty. So, as a caring daughter, and we decided that we were going to replace this soy sauce with low-salt soy sauce. Okay, because we want him to live a long time. We go to dinner, and he proceeds to add double the amount of soy sauce to all his food, because he's not to be fooled. he was adding the soy sauce to give that salty flavor. And so if you replace that with something with less salt, he will compensate. He will look for more. Jesus said, you are the salt. So what I want to leave you now is every time that you add some salt to your food, or pepper, or whatever it is that you like to add to your food. If you're shy, you don't have to do this, but I encourage you to do it, maybe when you're alone. I don't want you to just sprinkle a little bit. I want you to salt bay for the Lord. And I want you to be reminded every time that you eat your food that you are the salt. I want you to do this action and say, I am the salt. Next, we move on to verses 14 and 16. Jesus said, you are the light. You are the light of the world. We sing, Jesus, light of the world. You know the song? Light of the world. Yeah, famous song. You are the light of the world, Jesus says. Not he, I am the light of the world. Jesus says to you, you are the light of the world. Thank you for singing that I am the light. I know I'm the light. But Jesus is telling you, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. This is the modern version of it. Oh, you already moved? Oh, okay. You're getting cocky, okay? Hold on. All right. So this is the modern version, okay? So because we don't have lights and light stands, because we all have LEDs and whatever, okay? But you've experienced this, okay? Or if you don't have your parents nearby, you can use my dad as an example, okay? Because when his phone goes off, poof, all right? You can see my dad's phone from the other side of the house, yeah? It is so bright, yeah? I don't know if you've experienced this before. So let me tell you, we're going to, so verse 14 and 15 says, the screen brightness on my dad's phone cannot be hidden. And verse 15 says, for the young people here, you can't check your phone at night in bed without your eyes burning. No, your phone will give light to the entire house. Even your neighbors will see that you've checked your phone at 3 in the morning. That's kind of the modern equivalent of these verses. Okay, so everyone, I want you to grab your phones, okay? It's permitted now, I know. For the older people here, you don't have to do this. I know your setting is already on full brightness. So just all the young people here, go to your brightness settings. I did want to make this dark, but I'm going to pass on this. We don't have enough time. So brightness settings, and we're going to go brightness to the max, okay? So here's my brightness setting all the way to the max. All right, there you go. You can see my beautiful girl here. Okay, so keep your phone brightness to the max. You can then put it back after the end of the talk, okay? I don't want you to your battery to die down. But I want that to be a reminder of you. Every time that you open your phone, if you have a second, blind yourself a little bit. Or if you're young and you hear a text and you're too impulsive and decide that reading a text at 3 in the morning is a good use of your time, when it eventually blinds you, I want you to remember and say, I am the light. I am the light. Okay, so I hope this interactive part has been keeping you awake and engaged. But what do these metaphors mean in practice? How can I put them in practice? I'm sure you have heard countless preaching, sermons, talks on this passage, on being the salt and being the light. In fact, when I told Rebecca about the fact that I was going to use this topic, she said, "Oh, that's just so cliche. It's such a cliche message." And I agree. If I just tell you to be salt and to be light and just add some memes, it's a bit hollow. It is cliche. many Christians, many non-Christians are good people, and they have good interactions, and they season people's lives. Many people who are not Christian, who don't believe in God, make the lives of others better, and they shine. So what can we do about this? How can we escape the cliche? Verse 16 says, "Let your light shine before men, so that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." So, here is where it gets real. Good works. It's not just about a nice smile. It's not just about being a friendly person. It's not even about building works. It's not about a new building or the smell of fresh paint, which you can smell and enjoy. It's not about a new sign outside the door that says Rivers of Life Church, Northway. It's not about a new website, a new social media. Where it gets real is that if we want to see this place filled with people that will glorify the Father in heaven, it says that they need to see our good works. What kind of good works is Jesus talking about? We can have a long list of good works, and in the time given, I cannot give you an exhaustive list. So what you can do is you can bother Stephen, and he will have to prepare a few other preachings on it. But we're reading Matthew 5, and Jesus, in the beginning of Matthew 5, a few verses before, he gives the Beatitudes. He was preaching a few seconds before he got to verse 16. He was talking about how we can relate to God, how we can relate to our emotions and struggles. And he gives one of the Beatitudes, particularly on how we can relate, how we are perceived by others. Similar to what he will talk about when he talked about being the light and people seeing the good works. He says in verse 9, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. For the younger people here, it's peacemakers, not pacemakers, okay? We don't hear that word very often, peacemakers. If you Google peacemaker, you get John Cena, okay? So that's what the world currently thinks of peacemaker. Maybe you're a little bit more cultured, and this word peacemaker brought to mind the peacekeeper force of the UN, which is essentially a standing army with blue hats. But Jesus uses the word peacemaker. And the literal Greek word, and I hope no Greek is going to ever hear me, and I know this is recorded for all time, is eirenepoios. Okay, that's peacemaker, which is two parts, eirene and poios, poieio. The first part talks about restoration, is the peace part. It's a word that is used when you talk about fixing things, or joining things, or making things whole. The second part is the action part. To do, to make, to act. Peacemakers. Peacemakers, those who make whole, those who act in a way to fix and to join, to restore. They shall be called sons of God. They won't be called good people. They won't be called, oh, just another Christian that I know at work. They will be called sons of God. My challenge to you all as the church here present is that when Jesus says, you are the salt and you are the light, that you think about, how can I work to bring peace? How can I act to fix what is broken around me? Here in this neighborhood, as a church, as a community, through evangelism and outreach and activities, but also individually as the church, as carriers of the flame of the Holy Spirit around you. Look to restore families that are divided, that are fighting, that are hating. Look to the lives that are shattered, and look to the hearts that are broken. When you do this work, people will say, these are the children of God. Now, you might think I'm exaggerating, okay? You might think, well, yeah, peacemaking, okay, great. I would think if I made a big miracle, right? If I called fire from heaven, people would think I'm the child of God. Jesus did many miracles, okay? He healed many people. Out of the 10 lepers, only one came back. The miracles are from God and they are great, but they happen in an instant, and they are in an instant forgotten. How many of you have had miracles in your life? Anybody? You see, the fact that you didn't raise your hand immediately means that you forgot. You had to think about it. I know you did. I have. But when I have to think about it, it's like, oh, that was such a long time ago. I'm just a human. I forget the miracles that God did for me. In this regard, miracles are cheap, if you forgive my phrase. But the peace, when there was fighting, when there was hate, the peace once made is dear, is precious. And I want to show you finally with concrete evidence that this is the case, because verse 9 is not just a nice saying. Jesus didn't just say, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Oh, that's very nice. They will call you children of God. Jesus was prophesying. Because Jesus came to make peace. He came to restore lives, to restore man to God. His work of peace was not quick. It wasn't like one of his miracles. It took years to develop, and it took a long, suffering death to accomplish. His peace came at the cost of his life. And when he was nailed to that cross, his enemies nailed a plaque that said, King of the Jews. That was how he was perceived by his enemies. But when he died, when he surrendered his spirit, and when the work of salvation, redemption was paid, the centurion at the foot of the cross, you would be forgiven to think that this centurion was present on the mount when Jesus was preaching, because that centurion looked up at Jesus and he did not read the plaque. He did not read the King of the Jews. He didn't say, oh, truly he was a king. That centurion was moved by the Spirit, and he fulfilled the prophecy. And he said, truly, he is the Son of God. So, to finish, because otherwise I'm going to start crying. If you didn't know until today, if you didn't know that Jesus did that for you, if you didn't know that he came to bring peace, that he died, that he's the peacemaker, and that you are at peace with God if you grab onto his salvation, then I urge you to do it now. Don't miss this opportunity. And for those of you who today already knew that Jesus did that for you, that he is our peacemaker, then I again go back to leave this challenge to you. This salt, this light, Jesus on the cross is the standard that we aim to be. You are the salt, okay? You are the light. And you are peacemakers in a world of hate. So blessed are you, peacemakers, children of God. Amen.